All right, everybody, welcome back. And for decades now, embarrassingly, and dating myself, I've been asked to do the Wicked Sensation solo, and I avoided it for a long time because honestly, I didn't think it was one of George's better solos. It kind of had a meandery, noodly kind of quality to it. I'm happy to admit that I was essentially wrong about that. While I do feel that some of these phrases are kind of crammed in there, like punched in the studio, there's some killer playing in here and some great control. So let's get right into it. We're gonna talk details. So if you're a TLDR type of person, this may not be your video. I'll be posting shorts of the phrases for reference without explanations. But if you'll hang with me, I'm gonna teach you some stuff, man. We're gonna talk about the details, finding the beats, where the harmonics and the Easter eggs are, and the phrasing elements that make this work. It will make the difference between just rolling around and trying to sound like this thing and actually playing it. So let's get going. So the intro of this solo starts off innocently enough with a C-sharp blues scale, and it's all hammered and scooped on the D string to start with, and these are quarter note triplets, and the notes are E, F sharp, G, and G sharp, so that's D string, 14, 16, 18, 19, and then we're gonna have hammers, a hammer-on, on the G string from the 14th to 16th fret, and that's gonna be like this. And as we work those hammers and scoops, we want to try to keep the other strings out of the action by muting with our other fingers. So pretty straightforward, right? And you'll see the first time I employed the pick was on the G string. And then we go to the 19th fret on the B string for a nice singing whole step bend, which George actually releases, and you gotta budget the time for the bend release. I'm terrible at that, and I think probably a lot of us are. You gotta budget in there. So he hits it with the pick again as he releases it, and then when he comes down, he actually turns it into a harmonic. And you gotta watch your pick position, but for me, I generally have to move towards the nut a fraction of an inch. I'll try to find it here, but it would look like this. Get that nice vibrato in there. Straightforward enough. The next phrase puts us in a blues position or a C-sharp minor, blues pentatonic, however you want to look at it, scale, where we're gonna kind of, and those notes are on the B and G strings, and that's 9th and 12th fret, G sharp and E. Pretty straightforward. Then we have a pull off to 9, and then a hammer out of nowhere, and a pull off from 12 to 9. So, and then right back to the 11th fret on the high E string. So that's, then we pull off again to 9, and then we hammer pull off between 12 and 9 on the B string again, twice. So that's then we have this little part here on the G string, but there's an Easter egg here. This is a that's a whole step bend from the 13th, pardon me, 11th fret, and then a pull off to 9. And what would seem like another pull off from 11 to 9. But when you get up in this thing and you listen, there's a certain quality of that last E note. That one, it's actually an open high E string. So it's, swear to God, that's what it is. Then we're back to the 12th fret on the B string for a nice singing artificial harmonic whole step bend. Get that thing up a whole step, hold it for a moment, and then make it sing with the vibrato. That's a key phrasing element. Slide back. I'm going to slide back up on the B string on an and, as if we're counting 8th notes. And then the downbeat for the next phrase is going to be right here on the 16th fret of the B string. And that next phrase looks like this. We're gonna hammer on the B string on the 17th and 19th. And then we're gonna do a downstroke on the E string on the 16th fret. And then we're gonna hammer to 19, pull off 18, pull off back to 16. So that's gonna be in the same motif, downbeat right here, 17th fret, high E string. It's gonna be 17, 19, 21, and then 18, 21, 19, 18. We slide straight back to 16 and down pick 19. So that means we cram more notes into this beat. So the first beat is, second beat is, crazy, huh? Then we push that pick straight through on the downstroke to the E string again, and we will hammer to 19, and then we're gonna go back 18, 16, and then we hammer back up 18, 19, 16, pardon me, 19, 18, 16. Harder to say than it is to play, but it's gonna be. By the time we pull off here, we're just ahead of a downbeat. So it's gonna look like this. And downbeat, 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 anticipating a downbeat. And then we have hammers. And those are, for the record, 16, 18, back 16, slide 14, hammer 16, pull off 14, slide to 13, because George is staying in key despite claiming not to know what he's doing musically. So we're 13, hammer 14, pull 13, slide back to 11, hammer 13, pull 11, slide back to 9. And that is a downbeat. And if we're counting 16th notes, the last two notes of that beat would be, so that's 1 E and 1 E and Why am I bothering to tell you this? Because you need to land this thing that's coming up. We need to be on beat, and you need to be able to count. So it's 1 and then we have a downbeat here to start George Lynch's position legato kill box, and he will get you with this every time. George nails the notes. He has extremely clean playing. It holds up under the scrutiny of very high resolution slow playback, and if you don't put the work in here, it shows. So here it goes. First beat looks like this. There's your downbeat. And you'll notice I didn't pick anything on the B string. It's 12, 9, slide back up. So it's 9, 8, 9, hammer 12. This is a big Lynch thing. That shows up in Mr. Scary. You'll see it in the Unchained at Night noodling. So there we are. So then the next downbeat starts on the 11th fret of the high E string. And it's 11, 9, 7. And that's it. That whole beat. The last two notes are 9 and 11. So downbeat again, 12th fret, high E string. Let me make sure I get this right. We have the next beat is, that's it. 12, 11, 9, 12, 9, 11. Next downbeat, just like before. That's going to be 12, 11, 9, 12, 9. So I'm going to try to play that section through, and I'm going to give you like a physical cue when the downbeats are happening. I'm going to try to hit them harder with the pick and maybe make a little physical motion. Don't worry, I'm okay. I'm not having an episode or anything. we have this old familiar kind of like bluesy pattern. Starts on the 11th fret of the E string, and it's, and you'll notice I'm not necessarily picking the B string every time. So it's 11, 10, 12, 9, then back to 9, and then 12, 9, so, and then 12, 9, and then 12, and then we have this, and this is a full step bend, and this, that's a downbeat. Whole thing again, I'm going to try to nod at you and emphasize when I can with the pick where the downbeats are. Anyway, so once we do this, we have this as we set up tapping, and that's 9 and 12. And that first hammer is a downbeat. And we're going to go like this. That's a tap on 14, releasing to 9. Now we anticipate the downbeat. We get ahead of the downbeat a little bit here. Tapping the 15th fret, we're going for the C sharp blues scale again. Just like that, slide up one note, back, one fret, up, back, and release all the way back. Same thing again, except for we double slide. So, now slide up to 17. Pull 16, 14, and then 17, 14. So, excuse me. Then 14, pardon me, 16, 17, 16, 14. Hammer 17, pull 14. And that's anticipatory. Like Mr. Scary. Then we have a harmonic, an artificial harmonic on the high E string as we repeat that phrase, anticipating and articulating with a bend instead of hammers. If you can believe it. So playing that out, that looks like this. Now, we're going to do this odd, very quick. So it starts on the 14th fret of the B string each time. And that's back to 12. And then from 14 back to 10. And then 12 to 9. So, and then we cram in lightning fast. That's 10, 9, 8, 7. So, and then 4 more rapid fire notes. And again, I didn't even pick the B string. These 4 notes are not quite as fast as this. In fact, these are twice as fast as this. And then we hit the 4th fret on the G string with a... So let's try that whole thing. Then we have 9 and 11 on the G string, really fast. And that is a downbeat. And then we go right into this double stop. That is the 13th fret on the G string and the 12th fret on the B string. And this is picked on the record. He used to pick it live in the early 90s. It's picked on the record. You can tell by listening to it. Later in live, I've seen George with his finger and a pick. That's what I did in my practice video, but I listened to this a bunch. So it's this. It's that's the molecule, if you will. Both strings, and then on the up pick, he just catches the B string. It just sort of happens that way. And the idea is to do that 8 times. And then we have, and that's just a blues scale. And there's your harmonic. And I picked the first 2 notes. That's 12, 11, and then pulled them out. And that's a push pick, 11 to 9. So, again. Almost there. All right, now some very basic kind of blues phrasing. We slide up to the 11th fret on the D string. Get the 9th fret on the G, and then the back to the pedal point on the 11th fret. So, and that's it right there. And that's on the G string. That is 9 and 11. And then we go all the way up to 18 on the D string. And that's, of course, 16 and 18 on the G. Then we go to the B string, and that's 17, 19, and then we get into like some triplets, and that's going to be 17, 18, 19 on both the B and E strings. And then we have 21 with 2 half-step bend-ups, the last of which you catch the B string with to get that tritone. And if you're on a 24 fret guitar, it doesn't work. He played it on a 22 fret guitar. He ran out of frets and he went. And you skip the pick up the strings a little bit. So we have, let's see here. That's when the funky guitar comes in. If you want to know the funky guitar part, it's pretty straightforward. Neck pickup, I actually use 2 guitars on this. I use the Strat for this, but it's kind of funked up. So it's 9th fret, G and D strings. Then we have like this little triplet. And then we have a melody note, which is 9 to 12 on the high E. But it's against like a diminished shape there. So it'll be 11 on the D, 9 on the G, and 11 on the B, and 9 on the E. So that's it. That's the whole thing. Thanks for bearing with me. There's a lot of detail in that, a lot of frustration to be incurred if you want to really own this and work it up and try to nail it. I hope it's been worth the time. I always appreciate the views and the comments and the engagement. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.